So Ratchet Clank Rift Apart is coming out on June the 11th, and it's from Insomniac Games, and they've clearly been working very, very close with PlayStation, who are their owners. And so this looks like the first AAA game that has been built from the ground up with the PS5 in mind and knowing how the PS5 works. So if you want to make the most of your PS5, it looks like this game is going to be the best option for you. And Alex, it looks freaking gorgeous.
Yeah, it honestly might be the best game I've ever seen. And I know people like throw that around all the time, but you know, if you think about it like this, like you were saying, this is sort of the first original first-party AAA PS5 game that's exclusive to this console. We've had Demon's Souls, obviously, but that was a remake. And like you can tell, like the colors pop, like the particle effects are just off the chain. Animations are full of like gusto and like slapstick humor. Insomniac kept talking about this idea of a playable movie.
That movement from when you go from a cinematic and it goes straight into gameplay, this does that amazingly well. And one of the other things that I've noticed that's fantastic, which is, again, building it from the ground up, they clearly knew that the loadings, the biggest thing about the PS5 is the SSD and the solid state drive means that you can load stuff really quickly. And so part of the name of the game, Rift Apart, is that you're going through rifts, you're going through tears in reality, and you can jump from literally one level to another level that looks completely different on a completely different area. And Rift Apart makes that look really simple and quick and easy, and it makes it, you don't think about it. But if you understand what's going in the back end, they are basically reloading a whole new level in real time at the blink of an eye, and then you're jumping through it. And that's just bonkers to me.
Yeah, so like that's all the PS5 SSD working in the background. So you mentioned the cutscenes there. They actually talked about that. They talked about how they can now sort of create that seamless blend between cutscenes and gameplay where, you know, for instance, you might see Ratchet sort of falling through the sky, you land somewhere and suddenly you're playing it. And actually that reminded me of another Naughty Dog game like Uncharted. Like this Rift Apart has like a lot more set pieces than you might expect from a platformer, which is really cool. You'll often sort of have stuff going on in the background while you're rail grinding, or you know, you might be fighting atop a sort of floating parade that's suddenly collapsing. And all of that just feels completely like seamless because of that SSD working in the background. The same with the dimension stuff. I don't know if you, like, everyone talks about that level in Titanfall 2 where you're sort of switching between timelines just with the press of a button. Imagine that, but a planet, and you can shift between dimensions. And so you hit a crystal and suddenly you're in the same world but in an alternate reality. And that happens within seconds. And like all before you, there's no sort of cut to black or anything like that. And I can't stress how like amazing that is and how that's taking advantage of the next gen hardware in a way that we haven't seen before. But also as you're sort of switching between worlds and rifts, it happens without a single cut to black. So there's these things called pocket dimensions. So you might be sort of wandering through a level and you suddenly see like a portal to another world, which offers like a new cosmetic, like a piece of armor or something like that. You just go through it. Like there's no sort of, you know, sometimes how PS4 games would hide it where they're like sort of walking through cracks and like it's loading in the background, processing. There's none of that. You just go through it and you come back out. And like, yeah, like we haven't seen stuff like that before. And I think it will really sort of shift the way we interact with games, the way we play them. So that's really cool. It feels like you're looking at a window into the future of PS5 with Rift Apart because it feels like a game that's built to utilize every single aspect of the PS5 and its exclusive features compared to what we saw with last hardware.
And one of the things as well that we're going to get this great taste of, and we've had it in Astro's Playroom, but is the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback as well. And again, like you said, it's one of those things where they're going to change as you're playing with different guns. You're going to get feedback from them as to how much ammo is left, how the gun is interacting with the world, and giving you warnings so that you don't necessarily have to have stuff up on the HUD. You can just feel what is happening. And again, like you say, it's this tantalizing look into the future of like faster loading screens and the things that you can do, and it's just going to open up this whole new world of gaming.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Ratchet & Clank has always been famous for its sort of creative arsenal of weaponry, and here the DualSense just makes them feel a bit more tactile, a bit more sort of distinctive. And like you say, it sort of telegraphs important information in the heat of battle, like how much ammo you have left, how much charge is left on a gun, what kind of type of weapon you're using. An example that they gave was the Enforcer, which is essentially a double-barreled shotgun, except it can be upgraded to have 4 barrels. So that's the sort of sci-fi infused twist there. If you sort of press the trigger down halfway, you'll shoot the first barrel, and you'll feel that. You'll feel the tension, and you'll know, okay, I've shot the first barrel, and I can leave it there if I want to. Like, say I want to conserve ammo for the next enemy to come. And then you can press it all the way down, at which point the tension will increase, and you can feel that final click of the second barrel coming out. So it's stuff like that, which is, it's hard to describe, right? It's kind of like VR. You can't really understand it until you've played it for yourself. But I think it will really make a difference in a game like Ratchet & Clank. Like Insomniac said, they felt as though Sony made the DualSense for a Ratchet & Clank game, because it just feels like such a perfect fit. You know, they've said that this is a game that new players can easily jump into. Like, they're not going to feel lost. But at the same time, like, if you're a fan of the series, like, you're going to pick up on some really nice sort of Easter eggs and nods to stuff. So that'll be really nice. Yeah,
it does sound great. It sounds like this perfect match between fans of the series, people who just want to experience. If you're lucky enough to have got a PS5, this game does really seem like, if you just want to experience everything that it has to offer and see what the future holds for gaming, Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart seems to be the perfect one. So if you're interested in picking it up on June 11th, we're going to have a review on the website, so check it out. But if you kind of want to have a bit of a play around with your PS5 and really push it to its limits, this seems to be a really good game to do that.